So here's something interesting. Over 500,000 South Africans earn over 1 million rand every single year. In fact, this figure represents 6.7% of the country's 7.4 million registered taxpayers. South Africa is without a doubt an economic powerhouse. Yes, I know, it doesn't feel like that on the ground right now, but we remain a key hub for wealth in Africa. And we're also a money generator, despite a lot of the challenges that we are facing. Look, I know it's not rosy. Consider this, over the past decade, South Africa has seen a noticeable decline in its ultra-wealthy residents. People with assets that exceed $1 million, roughly 18 to 19 million rand. But something else has happened, because there's a contrasting positive trend at the level of people earning more than R1 million every single year. The number of South Africans who are earning over this amount every single year has been growing significantly. When looking at more recent tax data, it shows that 570,000 people are earning over 1 million rand in South Africa. This was in the 25-26 financial tax year. That's almost an increase of 79,000 people from the previous years. Honestly, guys, nisebenza opinion. Just tell me. Man, guys. Now, what all this data is suggesting is that there is a resilience and a growth within the upper income brackets in South Africa. Maybe you can actually help us to try and work out what's going on. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us why this is happening. Why are more people earning over R1 million rand? Or why is there an increase in people earning over that amount? I also have an interesting take, an unofficial take, an alternative one, right? I feel that these income and tax numbers are still a little bit skewed. You see, a lot of small business owners and ultra high net worth individuals, they actually don't earn an income. They earn in dividends. Basically, a dividend is a share of profits to those people who own shares in a company. Now in South Africa, for your personal income tax, you are actually taxed at a rate of 41% if you earn between 857,000 and 1.8 million rand a year. Thereafter, it's 45% tax. Now, if these were dividends, then you would only pay 20% tax on those. So many owners pay themselves less actual income and pay dividends 2 to 3 times a year. Actually works out to be less. So what this means is that there are way more South African millionaires than what this data suggests. The other thing that pops up is how millionaires are actually moving. Tax authorities now believe that many more high earners aren't even yet registered for tax income, which actually is illegal, guys. They estimate that there's around 100,000 more people earning over R1 million who might be flying under the radar, and they're actively working on finding them. SARS is even getting more funding to do just this. Actually, tell us something interesting. If you're working for a small or medium-sized business right now, or have been in the past, how much do you think your bosses actually pay themselves on a monthly and yearly basis? And also tell us what industry you're in. I'm not saying snitch, but I'm saying let's chat in the comments. Okay, but now that someone is a millionaire, the next question is, where do they actually live, or where do they choose to live? From what the data is telling us, a lot of millionaires actually like the bigger towns, but also the scenic regions. For instance, Joburg currently holds the top spot in Africa with over 13 to 14,000 resident dollar millionaires centered around business hubs like Sandton and affluent neighborhoods like Hyde Park, Sandhurst, Waterfall, and even the Westcliff areas. South African cities still dominate the top 10 wealthiest cities in Africa by the number of resident dollar millionaires. Recent data from the Africa Wealth Report for 2023, published by Henley & Partners in partnership with the New World Wealth, this actually shows that Joburg has the highest number of dollar millionaires in Africa, followed by Cairo with 7,600, Cape Town with 7,400, and Lagos with 5,400. However, Cape Town, with its stunning scenery and a lot of luxury areas like Clifton, Constantia, they're catching up very fast, and they're expected to become Africa's wealthiest city by 2030 with 7,400 high net worth individuals right now. Also, they seem to be a magnet for really wealthy people moving from other parts of South Africa, and even people who are retiring from abroad. They're all flocking to Cape Town. Add to that, Cape Town also has one of the most expensive streets in South Africa, Nettle Road, which is in Clifton. This road is widely considered to be South Africa's most expensive street. Homes on Nettle Road, they can range from 69 million rand all the way to 160 million rand. Insane. But I think a lot of those people are actually just buying in dollars, and we're just converting it into rands. What do you think? There are also picturesque regions that draw a lot of millionaires, people that just want things a little bit slower. Think of places like the Cape Winelands around Paarl and Stellenbosch. They've got around 3,600 rich people. They're sixth on the continent. Then you've got the coastal stretch of Durban, Mhlanga, Ballito, and they've got around 3,500 high net worth individuals. Then you look at the Garden Route. You've got Plettenberg Bay, Knysna. These are also popular hotspots for high net worth individuals. And these people live there and they invest there. There are around 3,200 people who are wealthy in those regions. Even the capital city of Pretoria, they feature here. South Africa's administrative capital also hosts all the foreign embassies, remember, and it has a few affluent areas. Think of places that include Waterfall, Waterkloof Ridge, and also places like Mooikloof Estate and even Silver Lakes. But I mean, this is what people are guessing. If you're from Pitori, tell us which other areas actually have really rich people. Do you actually stay in any of these areas that I've mentioned? Like, how does it feel to be around so much reported wealth? And like, how do you handle it? Let us know in the comments. Okay, so now we know where they live, but how do the rich in South Africa make their money? Unlike many other African countries where starting a business is the main path to being rich, the most common route to becoming a millionaire in South Africa is actually just climbing the corporate ladder. Over 70% of South Africa's dollar millionaires built their wealth through successful careers. Think of jobs like director, managing director, and CEO. These are common titles among this group of rich people. And salaries for top executives at major companies can range from several million rands and even upwards, even before getting shares for performance. Consider a report published by PwC which highlighted the average salaries earned by top executives at JSE listed companies. PwC puts a lot of their salaries between 1.3 to 2.5 million rand, and for even executive directors, this can range from 1 million rand to 2.1 million rand. At big companies, these averages increase to 3.3 million rand all the way up to 7.9 million rand for CEOs and C-suite people. And then just below, you've got 2 million to 4 million rand for directors. It's actually noted that financial directors, chief financial officers, these were among the most highly remunerated people in companies. Recruitment specialists also noted there is a growing number in jobs that now offer a million rand plus salaries, saying that although financial, digital, and engineering positions claim the most spots of 1 million rand plus positions, now directors from all sorts of industries are filling up those gaps. Think of managing directors. These salaries are fast approaching the 1 million rand mark. Actually, some of them range from 900,000 to 1.2 million rand on average. The financial services sector, think of banks, investment firms, etc., and even real estate. These are now the biggest sources of wealth, followed by tech and basic materials like mining sectors. Because building wealth through a career often takes time, the average South African millionaire sits at around 55 to 57 years old, and a lot of these people are actually over 50 and are retirees. Now, with that said, there is a significant portion, nearly 30% of millionaires who are younger and are actually under 40. Most wealthy South Africans are self-made, often holding degrees in law, finance, or accounting from top universities. The University of Cape Town is the most popular university amongst high net worth individuals. 20% of them come from there, followed closely by the University of Witwatersrand, WITS 18%, and Stellies has about 12%. So it's actually clear that a good university opens up good networking as well as access doors. In fact, even a good high school starts this whole process. South Africa's wealth creation story differs from its African neighbors though. Countries like Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya, they see far more millionaires emerging from entrepreneurship, often at a younger age even, because large corporate career paths are actually less available in those countries. South Africa is a lot more formalized, and thus its way of work in getting people rich is different from those countries. Think of it, South Africa's well-developed stock market and its financial sector actually means that local millionaires prefer investing in stocks and shares. In contrast, millionaires elsewhere in Africa are more likely to invest heavily in their own businesses and other businesses. They can even put money into multiple properties, and these things include farmlands and even homes overseas. And they even explore different investment types like private equity, which is a little bit different from our millionaires in South Africa. Also, the growing number of high earners has sparked a discussion about a potential wealth tax. But to be completely honest, the government is overreacting here, at least in my opinion. I don't actually speak for the wealthy, because I'm not, but For anyone earning over 1.8 million rand, you're already being taxed 45%. Then there's VAT and other levies. I feel like already that's a lot of over taxation. That's just my view. But what do you think? South Africa already has the highest personal income tax rate in Africa. Currently, that stands at 45%. While other African countries also have high tax rates. Example, Senegal's at 43%, Zimbabwe's at like 41.2%. South Africa's top marginal rate is consistently cited as being the highest on the continent for people that earn highly. Government is currently studying wealth distribution data and is going to use this to see what is feasible with extra tax. They're exploring options where direct tax and even higher taxes on investment income could be the case. I don't know. While some groups see this as a way forward, a way of addressing inequality, many other people are actually opposed to it, economists and other experts. But at the same time, tax authorities are focusing strongly on ensuring that everyone who earns over R1 million starts to pay their fair share. They're even dedicating significant resources into finding these people and getting them registered, and probably there's going to be a lot of penalties for them. South Africa represents a complex but resilient picture of wealth. While we have faced challenges in retaining ultra-wealthy citizens, there is strong growth in people who are earning higher and higher salaries, in rand terms at least. And this is starting to point to an underlying economic strength, which means in some shape or form that more people will become more stable. Wealth, though, remains concentrated in major business centers like Joburg and lifestyle havens like Cape Town and the Winelands, and even Durban. But this has to change. But it's going to take new entrepreneurs moving differently. In essence, the path to wealth here in Africa is very diverse. It's also unique. It favors corporate careers over entrepreneurship in different regions, which also leads to wealth accumulation later in life for some. The future success of South Africa's wealthy population will depend on tackling issues like fairer taxation, economic growth that also encourages both retention of people but also the creation of new wealth. I've always felt that South Africa needs to focus on the money that they get and to make that money work more efficiently. We also need to widen the tax base through getting more businesses to grow and also to produce more trade and thus jobs. Our country has natural beauty. It has appealing lifestyles, and these come at relatively lower costs of living. And these things will continue to be powerful assets that attract and keep successful individuals. But what we need to do as a country is to be better at managing our money so that we're not taxing our people more in the long run. Thank you for watching this video right up until the end. I hope it was as interesting for you to watch as it was for us to make. Check out one of these other videos and hopefully they'll be just as interesting as this one. Cheers.